This is BJ, right? Be good. Be good, beautiful and good. Give him a big hand. Thank you very much. Yes. Welcome. My name is Reverend Lori McMacken. Welcome to the Going Within Gathering. So we come together on a Wednesday evening to lift you up and to tap into the field of infinite possibilities, infinite potentiality. And this evening, I'm really, really excited about my message, so I'm glad you showed up. So as you know, this is a candle lighting service, and I'm going to invite you to come forward and to set an intention, to live a spirit-filled life, living close to Spirit and having a relationship with Spirit, however that may show up as we practice the presence together. I invite you to come forward as Be Good shares his gifts.
Thank you. And welcome to Going Within. Such a joy to be here. There's a power within, a force that shapes your life. Creation begins with the thoughts in your mind. Realize you're true. Open your eyes to see. Your world is made by you. You cause it to be. It is done as you believe. It's the word you speak that make it so. It's up to you to plant the seeds. It's the thoughts you think that make it grow. It is done unto you. Well, it is done unto you. It is done unto you as you believe. Hold the vision of your desires. You don't have to figure out how, for your actions will be inspired. You just have to stay in the now. Your vibration draws it to you. What you focus on expands. Your dreams can all come true. For the power's in your hand. It is done as you believe. It's the word you speak that make it so. It's up to you to plant the seeds. It's the thoughts you think that make it grow. It is done unto you. Well, it is done unto you. Yes, it is done unto you as you believe. Whoa, whoa, whoa. What do you believe? 'Cause it's done to you. I said, seek and you shall find. Ask and you shall receive. You create by default or design. For it's all as you believe. It is done as you believe. It's the word you speak that make it so. It's up to you to plant the seeds. It's the thoughts you think that make it grow. It is done unto you. Well, it is done unto you. Yes, it is done unto you as you believe. I said, seek and you shall find. Ask and you shall receive. You create by default or design. For it's all as you believe. It is done as you believe. It's the word you speak that make it so. It's up to you to plant the seeds. It's the thoughts you think that make it grow. It is done unto you. Well, it is done unto you as it is done unto you as you believe. What do you believe? Whoa, whoa, whoa. 'Cause it's done to you as you believe. As we believe, it is done to you. it is done to you and to me as we believe.
Beautiful and good. So we're going to move forward to the meditation, okay? So this is the time of our service where we practice the presence together. I invite you to close your eyes and to go within. And just focus on your breath, focus on the heart. And as you close your eyes and go within, think of something or someone in your life that brings you so much love and so much joy. And as you breathe into your heart space, allow this feeling of this love and this joy to fill up your whole body. And as we practice the presence together, allow this feeling and allow this joy to fill the whole sanctuary.
Please join me in turning within. And I know that God is all there is. God is that all-loving, all-caring source of divinity and inspiration that permeates everything and everyone. It is in the beauty of the mountaintop, and it is in the roar and the thunder of the ocean waves. And I know that God is right here, right this very moment, expressing itself through each and every one of us here at Seaside tonight. And I know that we are all one with God. We are one with the source of love and caring, the source of inspiration, of passion, and excitement. And closer to us than our breath, that is where God is. And it is because of that that we are heir to all the wealth and all the riches of the universe. For we are God's essence. And I give thanks in advance in knowing that each of us here tonight receives exactly that which we are here for. As the words flow forth from Reverend Lori McMacken's lips, each of us is touched. Each of us receives a shift, a whole new insight. And we in turn take that message out into the world and pass it on to others. And consciousness shifts throughout the world. And so I simply turn this time over to the hands of God and know that it is perfect. And so it is. So my name is Brian Atkins, and I will be doing your reading this evening. And tonight's reading is from the Joyce Abundance Journal, and it's called Joyce Gifts of Grace. And it's about learning how we should pray. How many of us pray with the intent of getting something from the outside? It's often we'll say, gosh, if you just get my husband to listen to me, then I will be happy. Or God, if you can just get my wife to do what I tell her to do, then I'll be happy. And then upon occasion we find that our prayers are answered and we find out we're nowhere near happier than we expected to be. Well, this message is about learning how to change the only person that will truly make you happy. And it's the only person that you can change. It's about praying to God to help change yourself. When we first begin to study metaphysical teachings, we often attempt to have God intervene on our behalf. Isn't that what we were taught to pray for? To get God to heal I'm having trouble seeing here. To get God to heal the body or relationship or produce the... Is there any possibility to turn the lights up more? I guess not. Thank you. Or produce the cash to buy that new house or car or bring peace to the planet. But eventually you come to understand prayer is not about the individual attempting to enlighten God, but rather making yourself available to the abundant power of the divine. Prayer in its highest mystical form is connecting with the divine revelation and being the place of the divine's emergence of the truth, opening yourself to the guiding gifts of grace and losing your desire to inform the infinite of your desires. The concept of God saving you belongs in a bygone, or because there's nothing to be saved from. If you want to be freed from the planet of this world, you must enter the realm of spiritual, where you will live from the awareness or power in that realm. There is no disease, lack, or pain in the kingdom of divine awareness. The recognition will dissolve all false appearances that might show themselves as real in your human walk through the plane of existence. Now, I would like to invite Lauren McMacken to the lectern. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Be Good. Thank you very much. All right, so welcome. I'm very excited about this evening's message. I've been away for 2 weeks, and I wish I was in Tahiti relaxing in the sun, but I wasn't. I was working 12 to 14 hours a day in Los Angeles rehabbing a property. And I've just been so blessed because my tenant had been in there for 10 years, and I had that time to do my ministerial training and time kind of to move into the ministry without having to deal with it. But, I have changed after 10 years, especially going through ministerial training. So now when I go back to LA, it's like LA is very dense, and there's a lot of people around, and it's the most traffic in the world is in LA. So it was very important when I was there that I actually stayed close to God, because I wasn't used to the city feel. I'm used to this open, beautiful air with the ocean smell, and even though the guys had to work 8 hours a day, I always kind of locked one of the doors and went in and meditated for a while and kind of took a nap just to get close to Spirit. But I was also blessed with, because I also had to put together a talk, but I was blessed with finding a book by Sonia Crochet, and it was called Grace, Guidance, and Gifts. And when you go on Amazon, you can sneak a little peek at the book before you decide you want to buy it. So I read it, and I was like, oh my God, this is wonderful. This is so in alignment with with our teaching, but also she's a Hay House author. But what was really exciting about the book to me is that she talked about something that I've never heard before in this teaching. And really, our teaching is about our relationship with Spirit and the universal laws. And what she talked about is that us humans, that we are on this transformational journey from the limited human consciousness to the unlimited spiritual consciousness. And within each and every person, we have a non-physical essence, okay? There's two non-physical essences. And one is the soul, right? And one is the spirit. And she was saying that there is a difference between the soul and the spirit. Do you know the difference between the soul and spirit? Or raise your hand if you'd like to know the difference between the soul and the spirit. Because I got to tell you, I wanted to know the difference between the soul and spirit. Now, Sonia has been on a spiritual journey ever since she was a very young girl. So she has had many students in her lifetime. And one of their questions was, what's the difference between the soul and the spirit? So she spent a lot of time asking this question in prayer, in meditation, in traveling the world, and listening to different spiritual gurus. And what clarity she brought to me about the difference between the soul and the spirit. It actually helped me to connect to Spirit on a deeper level, and I hope that my message tonight could help you do the same thing. So what she explained about the soul is that the soul holds the consciousness of all of our lifetimes, all right? It holds the consciousness of everything that we have experienced in this lifetime. All the affirmative and all the negative. All the joys and the dreams and the beauty and all the tragedies and horrific situations and negativity. Now, I just want to make something clear to you. Here in religious science, we believe in eternality of the soul. We believe that we are eternal beings. But Ernest Holmes necessarily doesn't believe in past lives. And I am open at the top like Ernest Holmes, and I believe I'm not sure either. Like, we won't know until we get there, right? However, remember when Anita Morjani was here? She was saying that when she had her near-death experience, that she was able, as a spirit, she was able to see all of her past lives throughout the timeline. Okay, so this is the soul. Now, the spirit is that timeless, eternal essence of who we are. And we are never separate from the source because we are the source. Like the ocean is the expression of the divine, and within that little drop of the ocean is all the qualities of God, and that is all the qualities of God within you. Now, the soul, going back to the soul, the way that the soul is expressed is through the ego. Yeah, the soul is expressed through the ego. The soul is, its journey or its goal is to get back to source, is to get back home, is to be connected to its wholeness. And the Spirit, what its job is with the soul, is to be the witness of the journey, okay? So when we feel separate, we are living a ego-centered life. And when we feel whole, we are living a spirit-centered life. So what we want to do as spiritual beings and on this spiritual path is we want to continue to direct our ego back home to spirit. And when we connect the two together is when we live this authentic lifestyle. So when we're living a ego-centered life, the ego is so fascinated with the past. Everything that has happened yesterday, and it can't get off what was going on yesterday. The ego's fascinated with being a victim, with living in fear, within its limitations. And so when we direct our ego into towards the soul, then we become whole again. She is very clear that the only way to get to spirit, the only way to experience your wholeness is through practice. And of course, you know that's probably why I love her, because you have to go through the eye of the needle. You have to every single day sit and pray, and you have to meditate and think about God instead. And this is the only way that you can get to your wholeness. And this kind of explains to me why a lot of the people in the world are addicted to, drugs or alcohol, because the soul is yearning to feel whole. It's yearning to feel good. So if I have a drink, it'll make me feel good again, or if I smoke, or whatever it is, when you become unconscious, the soul's wanting to feel good. When really what the soul is wanting to do is to come together as one with spirit. And so when we practice our prayer, and we practice our meditation, and every day we are on this journey of guiding our ego back to spirit, is when we experience an authentic lifestyle. This is when we live from love, and we don't live from fear. This is when we can be honest with ourselves, and we can draw healthy boundaries, right? This is when we can take responsibility for what we are creating in our lives. So this is a gift that she had given me also, because I did a little bit more homework than the book. I went on to YouTube and I wanted to listen to her speak. And this was like a golden nugget for me. And I can't wait to share it with you. And what she said is, the soul believes that I am not enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not skinny enough. I'm not rich enough. I am not enough. And I know that if everyone here goes and they have a practitioner session, right? And you sit with a practitioner, and we're all going to get down to the core core belief that there's something within us that believes that we are not enough. But this isn't you. This is the ego you that believes that. And when that comes up in your life, and, that comes up for me still, too. So how this healed me is I realized that when this feeling of I am not enough comes up, I can sit and say, now, wait a minute, you are living a ego-centered life. You need to guide your ego back to its wholeness. So you say, I am that I am. I am one with all of life. I am one with God. You say I am and zip it, clip it, right? Accept it. Forget about it. That's right. Zip it, clip it, forget about it. That was the whole thing, right? So I am, I'm not saying another word. I just know that I am all that God is. I am love and I am joy. And so what you're doing by correcting that, you're moving your soul back to spirit. And this is what the soul is craving to go home. And it is your job as a spiritual being to guide your soul back to spirit. So Sonia has 3 blessings that she believes will bring you back to spirit. And the first blessing is grace. And what does Ernest Holmes say about grace? I love grace. Grace is the givingness of spirit to its creation. And it's not a special law, but a specialized one. Grace is, but we need to recognize it. It's not something God imposed upon us, but is the logical result of the correct acceptance of life and a correct relationship with spirit. I know that's a mouthful. I'm going to interpret that. So what grace is when we are in correct relationship with God. It is not a universal law. Grace is when we are opening ourselves up to receive the universal good. And let me give you like a little clue on how to get connected in correct relationship with God by using grace. Now, I know I'm not going to go through the kingdoms of consciousness, but the first one is the victim consciousness, where we feel that something has been done to us. And the second one is when we feel like we have to control everything. So when we give up being a victim, and we give up having to control everything in our life, and we just think about God instead, and we co-create with God, then we open up space for grace to come in to our lives, right? Try it sometimes. No, let me go. There's more to this. Grace. We are saved by grace to the extent that we believe in it. We accept to seek, embody the law of good. For the law of good is ever a law of liberty and never a law of limitation. Limitation is not a thing, but an entity, but a belief. Freedom is a divine reality. So in order to accept grace in our life, we have to be open to receive. There is a law for good in the universe, and you can use it. But you can only use it when you open yourself up to be receptive to it. And the tricky part of being receptive to the law of good is only focusing on God instead, and only focusing on what you want, not trying to control what you want, or trying to get something from what you want, or trying to think that you are a victim of what is happening. So when you have a correct relationship with Spirit, out of nothing, out of nowhere, grace appears. And guess what? Since I was reading the book and I was studying the principles, I had opportunities to experience grace. So I have to tell you these 2 opportunities. The first one was I was working on the property and we had a lot of dead wood because I had a fence. So we took all the dead wood down and I had it in the parkway. And then I have like a 1/4 acre and I had like 30 bags of dead grass and dirt and everything else. And in LA, years ago when I lived there, if you had a utility bill, you could dump for free at the DeGarmo DeGarmo dump. So I called up to make sure that was still intact, and it wasn't. All right, so I have to get a big dumpster to put everything in. As I made the phone calls, I realized the dumpster was going to cost me $500. Ugh, that didn't feel good when you weren't even going to get a good pair of shoes out of it, right? So I thought, what am I going to do? Well, I also have a vinyl fence there, and so I was just cleaning the vinyl fence, and I'm just thinking about God instead. I'm not going to be the victim. I'm not going to think about the $500. I'm not going to think about how this is going to get done. God knows what I want. And all of a sudden I hear, da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. Think about it, talk about it, boom. This guy runs by and he's playing disco music in his van, you know what I mean? And he's coming by really slow and he's looking at the parkway and I'm like, are you looking for metal? He's like, yeah. And I go, well, I have a hot water heater in the backyard. Do you want it? So we stopped and he got the hot water heater out of the backyard. And then he looked at all the stuff on the parkway. He says, what are you going to do with all this stuff? I go, I have no idea. You got any ideas? He goes, give me a price and I'll take it away. $200. He goes, all right, you got a deal. I was like, oh, this is grace. Living in grace. Thank you so much. I didn't even think about it. I just focused on God instead. I knew God knew what I wanted. I wasn't going to be the victim. I wasn't going to cry and moan about $500. I was just going to just let it be. And then right before I came here, I had a moment of grace. This was so good. I have a new tax person, and I wanted them to deal with 3 years of my back taxes. And I went to this high-profile person, and I really trusted this person. And when I got there, they gave me an associate who didn't have a business card for the business. And I could tell that the person just didn't know what they were doing. And one thing after another, things were not working out. Yesterday at 3 o'clock, I get an email that said, here's your voucher. You owe the IRS 10 grand. You have to pay it today or you're going to owe, you're going to owe penalties. I was fuming. I mean, just like steam coming out of my ears, And I didn't like the way they dealt with me anyways. I feel like they were kind of like shuffling me under, the masses. So I had to call AOA today, Apartment Owners Association. You get advice from them. But I also remember she speaks at AOA. So I talked to the president there, and I told him this long story about my experience there. So I just, I'm going to cut my losses, I told him. I'm just going to give them the money that I paid them. I'm not happy with their service. I'm going to have someone else do my taxes. So right before I came here, I had a message on my phone. I went and listened to my phone. He said, oh, we did all your back taxes, and you're going to get all your money back from what you paid for 2016. I'm like, this is grace. So everything, the $10,000 I paid yesterday, I'm getting it all back. But it took work for me to stay connected to Spirit. That was difficult, right? That's difficult when you're talking 10 grand to say, you know what? I'm not going to control it. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to stay connected to Spirit. Living in grace. So I have this beautiful story. I found another great book. It's called Touched by an Angel, Chicken Soup for the Soul. And a story about a husband and a wife. And they were driving in a remote area, and every 10 miles was a house, and there was no street lights. And all of a sudden, and they had a baby with them, the drive shaft of their car fell out from underneath. And so the wife said a quick prayer, just asking for assistance, and they got out, they took the baby in the basket, and they started walking. Out of nothing, out of nowhere, came a tow truck and put their car on the bed and started to drive them home, and it was a happy guy that was towing them home, and they were making small talk with him. And then the wife started to freak out a little bit because she realized she had no money to pay the driver. So she's in the bottom of her purse, and she's trying to get whatever coin she could and some dollar bills, and she came up with $7.59. And then she thought, oh my God, what are they going to do if we can't pay them? Maybe they'll just take the car. It's not worth anything anyways. So they got to the apartment, and he got the car off the bed, and she thanked him, and she said, what do I owe you? And he winked at her, and he said, $7.59. And she thought, wow, So she looked at the name of the company. She thought, I'm going to call the company tomorrow and just tell him what an amazing man he was. So she went to call the company, and it was called Rainbow Wreckage. And in the phone book, there was no Rainbow Wreckage. No problem, she'll call 411. And they said, there is no Rainbow Wreckage. So this is living in grace. Just, Spirit knows what we need and will always be there for us when we are in right relationship with Spirit. So the next blessing that Sonia talks about is guidance. You know what I figured out when I was writing guidance down? I never saw this before. Look at that, guy dance. Like that. So guidance is all around us. Guidance is like this loving essence that we live and move and have our beingness and love. And there's so many ways that we can receive guidance in our life. Of course, we know the intuitive guidance that is that divine teacher within us that's always guiding us to our highest good, right? But we can get guidance in other ways. If we just pray for a second and just say, could I please have some guidance? We will get the guidance that we need. People may come to us and give us guidance, or we might see something on Google. No matter what, it's going to be in a way that you will understand. And so, another story by Touched by an Angel, the chicken soup for the soul. There was a couple here in San Diego that went over to Baja California, the peninsula. Did I say that right? Anyways, so to assist in a medical ministry. And what they were doing is they were building a house for a doctor to live there and to work with the people who live in a very impoverished area, who are very poor and live in poverty level. And their job was to play with the children as their parents would help build the home. Now, the wife was not used to being in an area of poverty. And there's two things that really irritate us. And one is sometimes if someone's light is too bright, and the other one is if it's too dark. Right? And we can't handle either or. So she had prayed to God to please allow me to see these beautiful children as God sees them, even though they are disheveled, and I know they live in these mud huts, and there's like 10 kids in one room. Please allow me to see the beauty in each and every child, okay? And as she opened her eyes, there was a little girl there named Angelica who grabbed her hand and started playing with her and singing with her and dancing with her. And every day that she was there, this little girl named Angelica would just light her life up. And she realized by being with these children that they were so rich in community and they were rich in love and supporting each other. So she left with a different point of view than what she had started because she had asked for this guidance. And at the end of their stay there, they decided to go, every day when they played with the kids, she told Angelica, well, I'm going to walk you home. She said, no, you don't have to walk me home. I follow my brother. So she would follow her brother, and she would watch her as she would follow her brother home, and then they would go into the house, and the door would shut. So the last day, they wanted to thank the parents for Angelica, her beauty and her soul, and Angelica didn't show up. So they decided to go to the house and knock on the door and talk to the parents. And so they knocked on the door, and the parents said, we don't even have a little girl. We only have boys. No, Angelica, she lives here. She said, no, there's no little girl in this whole village named Angelica. Wow, touched by an angel. An angel in your heart, they say, will give you guidance every single day. For angels are messengers of the world. And so the last blessing is the blessing of gifts in our lives, and they come in so many different forms. So each one of you have come into this world to deliver your gifts and to deliver your talents and to take them and to hone them, right? And as you give them to the world expands and it grows in its glory. And if Each person in the Hindu religion, they believe that each person has 1,000 gifts to give in this lifetime. So your gifts could be something from the past, or it can be something that you have to hone in the future. But if you really look at your life, you might see more gifts than you ever can imagine. I know that when I was working with the Seaside Sisters, I slipped. When I was very young in high school, I used to do a lot of choreography and I would teach dancing. But after that in college, I was like, I was going to be the pro. I wasn't going to be a teacher or a choreographer. And I was talking to the Seaside Sisters and I said, oh, you know what? I have this gift that I haven't used in years and years and years. And my gift is that I can take a person who's not a professional dancer and make them look like one. And I'm like, oh my God, I just can't believe I said that, you know? I'm like, what the heck? They looked great, didn't they? So when I was at home, I was with one of my Rockette girlfriends, and I showed them, the video of the Seaside Sisters, and she was like, oh my God, I can't believe you did that. They were all together, and they looked so good. So I don't think I'll use that gift again, but it was an old gift that I pulled out. You never know. We all have these gifts. And so I was at the Dances of Universal Peace last Sunday, and my girlfriend Sandy was there, and Sydney was there, and Sydney Salt, raise your hand so we can see you. Sydney was there, and Sydney was so excited. She told us that she just made this CD, and she has this gift where she goes to, I think it's Elizabeth's hospice home, and where they sing songs to people who are making their transitions. How beautiful that. She does that with her sacred singers, and I believe that Michelle Spiegler is one of them. And also I saw Phil Fielder. He's maybe some other people at Seaside too. But she found this gift when she was on her own healing journey. Is that correct? And Sandy was so excited. Sandy said, I want to get one of those CDs. And I said, well, I want one too. And I said, well, why don't you just bring them to the Wednesday night service? And if anyone would like to have one of these beautiful CDs, the Songs of Transitions by Sydney Salt and the Sacred Singers, I thought that was just a beautiful, beautiful gift to give to the world. Thank you so much. I'll definitely get one after the service. I'm not here to sell something. I'm just here to say that we have someone here that gave a very special gift to the world. And we're all going to know someone sooner or later that's going to make a transition. And so there's one last story that I want to share with you. And it's from the same book, Touched by an Angel, from the Chicken Soup from the Soul. And this is called Brian's Last Gift. And there was a lady, her name was Margarita, I believe, and she was sitting in her home, and it was thundering outside, and all of a sudden there was a knock at the door, and she went to the door, and she noticed it was her son, Brian, and she was trying to let him in, and he was more patient than usual, and when she let him in, he came in and gave his mother the biggest, longest hug ever. I mean, he just came out of the teenage years, so you know how the teenage is like, Mom, stay away. So she just really enjoyed that beautiful hug, and then he said, come on in, come on in. He said, no, I got to go out to my car. I have something for you. So he went out to his car and he brought in a small dog. And she's like, I don't like dogs. I don't want a dog in my house. She's like, please, Mom. So, okay. So they sat down and they pulled out the old photo albums and they were looking at the photo albums. And she said, well, what's his name? And he said, well, it's not a he, it's a she. And she doesn't have a name, so you're going to have to name her. And she's like, please, Mom. And he's like, oh, okay. So they decided to name the dog Happy. And so after they named the dog, she went into the kitchen and she made a beautiful dinner. And they had this amazing meal together. And then after the meal, they went back into the living room and she sat down and they were just relaxing, and Happy was by Brian's side. And all of a sudden, he got up and he said, okay, I got to go. And she was halfway asleep. And then when she realized he left, she got up and said, oh, I want to get a hug, and don't forget to take the dog. And the dog was still there, right? So here she has this dog named Happy. And then 2 days later, what happened is the police came to her door and said, 4 days ago, your son was killed in a car accident. And she knew 2 days ago her son was there and he dropped off the dog. And she said this is one of his last days, and one of her darkest moments, that she made it one of her happiest moments in her life. And she was truly touched by an angel. So she had taken that dog with her everywhere she goes. And that she was the type of person that sat in her house and it got her out taking walks and being with people and just seeing the world, just having this beauty of unconditional love in her life. And so when we want to stay connected to spirit, we do this by living a spirit-centered life. We do this by every single day practicing by our prayer and our meditation and gently guiding our ego back to center. Okay? And so when we are guiding our ego back to center and we are going arm in arm with spirit, we're not trying to control anything. We're not being the victim. We're just letting it all go. We, out of nothing and out of nowhere, the grace of God moves through our lives and we become that beautiful, authentic being. And so in closing, be good. He's here. I wanted to read you. Matter of fact, you know what? I love this book so much that I'm going to teach a 4-week class on it. So every week we work on a different blessing on our life. I think I'm going to do that in June. And Sonia Crochet has many prayers, but I'm just going to read her final prayer that it is a prayer from Spirit to you. Will you just give us a little tingle, a little piano? Thank you. So I invite you to close your eyes and to go within. And this is a blessing from Spirit to you. Dear and beloved child of mine, I bless you, most holy and beautiful Spirit, in every day of your existence. I fill you with grace to bring peace to your heart, guide you through your intuition to see your way, and gift you with heavenly powers of spirit to live as a divine being you are created to be. May you, most cherished Spirit, be strengthened and shine bright in the light of my love this day, and may your soul and ego follow your spirit home to the very center of your heart. I bless you to walk in the company of angels and be protected by holy guardians of light and delighted with the loving companionship of joyful humans. I, your most holy Mother, Father God, creator and source of all in the universe, love, treasure, and bless you unconditionally now and forever. And so it is by my decree. Amen. Alleluia.
Amazing, you are amazing, just amazing, just amazing, you are amazing. Amazing things with the choices each day brings, and with every step you take, that's the progress that you make. The reasons are clear, it's in every gift you give. Love your life, love your dreams, you will do some amazing things. Oh, the places you will go and the people you will know. Don't worry when, where, or how. You don't need to know that now. You're on the right track. No need to look ahead nor back. Just enjoy what this day brings. You will do some amazing things. You don't have to work it out. Just stay in the here and now and let your mind rest for a little while. Sometimes deepest answers come when you're out here just having fun. So close your eyes and take a breath and just smile. 'Cause you're amazing, just amazing, and you will do some amazing things. You're amazing, just amazing, and you will do some amazing things. You don't have to work it out. Just stay in the here and now and let your mind rest for a little while. Sometimes deepest answers come when you're out here just having fun. So close your eyes and take a breath and just smile. You just smile. 'Cause you're amazing, just amazing, and you will do some amazing thing. Some amazing, amazing things.
Amazing. That was beautiful. It's one of my favorite songs. Thank you. Be good. Yes. So this is the time of our service where we give back to our spiritual community. I invite our ushers to come forward and just recognize that your gifts allow the spiritual community to expand and grow as a consciousness together as one, and also help support this beautiful building. So I invite you to take this gift and to place it over your heart and to close your eyes and to go within as I recognize this divine infinite flow, this infinite expression that's in each and every person's life, knowing that many doors of opportunities are always opening and money is just falling over each and every congregant here in this room. And so it is. And together we say, "Aw, it's so sweet. Thank you." That's living in grace. Together we say, "Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I give, and all that I receive." And so it is. Thank you. Thank you, Ed.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
Thank you. That was beautiful. Beautiful rendition of that. So this is the time of our service where we think about our loved ones and bring them into the circle of love. So I invite you to raise your hand, and if you have someone that needs a healing right now, just speak their word into the room, and I'll ring the bell to acknowledge their presence. And first, I want to acknowledge Dennis had a family member named Carol that I want to bring into the room. Miko. Oh, yeah, Reverend John Pileski. Hannah. Anyone else? Yes. Jennifer and Nicolette. And let's remember everyone in our prayer request box. I also want to bring my friend Sandra in. Yes, Sandra Jenkins. All right. So I invite you to close your eyes and to go within as Michael plays a little bit behind me. And just recognizing this one power and this one presence of God that is everywhere, flowing in the beauty of life and the beauty of love. For I know the circle of love is complete. It binds all together with cords of everlasting unity. I cannot depart from his presence nor wander from his care. The circle of love is complete within me, within the consciousness of my mind. The circle of love is complete within the consciousness of this room. I know that each person is perfect and whole and complete. I know the love of God flows through in and around each and every person's life. I know there's a divine light that expresses itself perfectly and purely. I know there's fields of abundance and love and joy. I know where there is disharmony, there is peace. Where there is lack and limitations, there is abundance. And when there is illness, there is wholeness. And I am grateful for this divine truth expressing itself in each person's life that we have mentioned in the consciousness of the circle of love. As I release my word into the law, knowing that it is done, and so it is. Thank you. And so I want to thank Ed Reeves. Thank you very much for on sound and video. Thank you, Gregory Neville. I love you, and so does my mother. Thank you. Trudy Seifke, thank you for your high consciousness watching, taking a high watch. Thank you very much, Brian Atkins. Thank you for your consciousness. Thank you, Be Good. Thank you so much for your beautiful voice and your wonderful talent, and bringing Dana. We love her too. And what's going on here at Seaside? Oh, and Dennis and Ginny Mills. Mr. and Mrs. Practitioner Mills, who hold the fort down. Now, the date moved to May 30th. This is the Deep Sound Meditation. I just want to let you know that. And we have Racing Extinction. I believe this happens on Earth Day here at Seaside. Or is that tomorrow night? Tomorrow night. The Dances of Universal Peace is on May 21st, the next dance. And we have another evening with James Van Prague. Oh, it's so great when he's here. I love learning the lessons that it brings up. This is June 30th. So what else is going on? Now, next Wednesday, I believe this is not a Seaside event. It's a rental. And this is Krishna Das. So we are dark here next Wednesday. And the following week, you'll have me full-time again. How's that? And moving into the light. So after service, if you want to buy a beautiful gift from Cindy Saltz, she'll be out in the family room. And I invite everyone to stand for our universal blessing. Together we say, may all beings be well and happy. May all beings be free from strife. May all beings return to love. Peace be with you forevermore. And our closing song. Come on up, Brian. Hang on to hands. And
let your heart fill with peace from the angels who love our world. Let your heart fill with peace from the angels who love our world. Peace will change 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 our world. Peace in our hearts. Peace in our world. Peace in our hearts. Peace in our world. Peace in our world.
Seaside, may you walk in peace. I love you. Please join us in the family room for cookies and tea.
Good, baby. Oh, I didn't sing like two of my songs. That's okay. Let's see. So I added the long version of As You Believe.
It was perfect. Now we all. So she's just discovered Sonia Choquette. My friend Sonia Choquette is TWA flight attendant.
What about her?
The woman she was talking about, the author.
Oh, yeah.
I've followed her career for
Wow.
25 years. I went through training with her brother Neil.
Yeah.
And she and her sister Ann Neil all flew for TWA.
Oh, wow. She wrote a book or something? Yeah.
She wrote about 10 books.